CAHPS and HOS is like doing a Rubik's Cube in the dark. Like,
Right.
you can only do so much, and then it's like in the good Lord's hands for the
Right.
year of our Lord, as Nate would say. So curious to see your thoughts specifically around HOS, and if plans maybe didn't hit the mark, what are the ways that they can really be thinking about it as we frame up next year's HOS survey?
Yeah, and we're actually mid-survey right now too, right? The survey's in
Yeah,
folks' hands. It goes
exactly.
through November, so it's a timely question. There are measures that plans struggle with. I mean, when you look at that CMS fact sheet and kind of glance down the measures, those HOS measures are well below the averages for all in performance compared to the other
100%.
measures in the and CMS has made it pretty clear over years of communication that they're a fan of HOS. They like it, and they're wanting to expand it. There's PFADL they threw out there.
Yep.
If they add that measure, that'll be an outcome. It's longitudinal. That's 3 triple weighted measures and 3 single weighted measures. That would make HOS almost the same composition as the whole Part D part of STARS, just HOS, right? So I think
No.
plans don't like things that they can't demonstrate to their leadership strong ROI on, right? Like, we need to close breast cancer screening gaps. We've got X many to close. Here's our strategy. We closed this many last week. We're getting our money's worth. It's happening. That's one, and they'll pour money into these one initiatives for one single measure and kind of throw their hands up at these survey measures. I think plans are really going to have to buckle down and start working these year round, incorporating HOS needs throughout health risk assessments. Make it part of the care plan. Make it identify falls as a problem, and what is your goal that you're developing with a member, and what activities, initiatives, vendors are you going to lean into to help them accomplish that goal of not falling, and how do you get that back in the hands of the interdisciplinary care team? I mean, I could preach it,
But how?
but it's really it's not an initiative with a start and stop date. It's how we need to learn to do business, how we care for our members, and that's what's spelled out in HOS rates.
Even though they're maybe like pointed at maybe like perceptions of clinical aspects of care as opposed to what we think about CAHPS, like in order to actually impact them, you're going to have to treat it as an assessment, right? A self-reported assessment of experiences, period. You just have to do that. There's really no other way that you're actually going to move the needle on this, no matter how many letters you send to providers asking them to talk about bladder control, right, to their members. Like you have to do something.
So triggered right now, Nate.
Yeah.
And I think it's like just working them in an orchestrated way, as opposed to we work HOS, we work CAHPS, we work HEDIS, and thinking about how you can really cross-pollinate that through the year. Like, think about OMW. OMW, they're going to fall, they're going to fracture a pelvis, hip, femur, you're getting admitted, you're triggering, TRC. TRC has the MRP, which is pretty much the same thing as an MTM. And then think about falls in all of that, of how you can really weave those together in a whole post-stitch charge kind of flow.
Yeah.
But then also just like for members that don't end up in the hospital and triggering that workflow, I think sometimes we focus on like kind of those specific use cases and forget like about the other members that might not fall into those more like, I don't know, I call them tangible buckets, like those cookies that you were talking about, Jessica, where it's like, I know how many colonoscopies I need to get. That's like, seems like something you can hold, you can feel. It's like very easy to articulate to a C-suite versus HOS and CAHPS. It's like, we need it because we need it.